A recent news story has caught the attention of people worldwide, sparking heated debates, especially among internet users in Asia. The government of Japan has made the decision
to prepare for releasing treated contaminated water into the ocean.
While some individuals support this decision, others strongly oppose it, leading to discussions about the standards used to judge the safety of such a release. Even within Japan, protests have emerged against this proposed action. Nevertheless, the government remains firm in its determination to proceed. So, what exactly is happening? Why would a country heavily reliant on seafood exports choose to release contaminated water into the ocean? On March 11, 2011, a massive earthquake with a magnitude of 9 struck Fukushima. A 14-meter-high tsunami destroyed structures, including the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. This catastrophe led to reactor explosions and the release of radioactive materials into the environment. This event reached level 7 on the International Nuclear Event Scale, the highest rating, akin to the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. More than 150,000 people were evacuated, causing numerous fatalities and injuries, and leaving a significant portion of the population homeless. In response, the Prime Minister at the time stepped down from office. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant was composed of 6 reactors, collectively generating 4.7 gigawatts, making it one of the world's 25 largest nuclear power stations. Each reactor had primary and secondary containment structures made of strong reinforced concrete, designed to prevent the release of radioactive materials. Nuclear reactors create electricity by using the heat from the fission reaction to produce steam, which drives turbines. When the reactor stops operating, unstable isotopes continue to emit heat due to radioactive decay, requiring ongoing cooling. However, the tsunami damaged diesel generators that powered pumps that circulated cooling water in the reactor to dissipate heat. And the explosions compromised protective layers. Without proper cooling, nuclear power plant fuel remains active, generating substantial heat and dangerous radioactivity over an extended period of time. Thus, manual cooling is necessary, involving the injection of seawater into the reactor. In 2013, Tokyo Electric Power Company invested heavily in constructing the Advanced Liquid Processing System, aimed at filtering contaminated water and reducing the radioactivity of over 60 substances to safe levels. The treated nuclear wastewater is stored in tanks. Over the past decade, the reactors have persisted in generating heat, resulting in the production of contaminated water on a daily basis. TEPCO has built over 1,000 large tanks capable of holding 1.32 million metric tons of wastewater, equivalent to over 500 Olympic swimming pools, and the volume still grows by 140 tons daily. With the predicted wastewater volume exceeding available storage by 2024, the Japanese government announced a plan to release treated nuclear water into the Pacific Ocean through an undersea tunnel over the next 30 years. The contaminated water contains more than 60 radioactive substances, most of which can be removed through treatment. However, some core radioactive isotopes, including carbon, cesium, strontium, tritium, and ruthenium, cannot be completely separated. Japan argues that this water meets safety standards set by the International Atomic Energy Agency and the United Nations. According to WHO standards, the allowable level of tritium in drinking water is set at 10,000 becquerels per liter. Japan plans to dilute the radioactive water by over 100 times, resulting in a tritium concentration of 1,500 becquerels per liter, well below the standard. They strongly believe that the potential environmental and health impacts of discharging this wastewater can be considered negligible. Despite global opposition, the Japanese government contends that tritium, a naturally occurring radioactive substance, is present in the environment and human bodies due to its formation in Earth's atmosphere and water cycle. Tritium has a half-life of 12.3 years, meaning its radioactivity diminishes over time. Once inside the body, it can be excreted within 7 to 14 days. The Japanese government contends that many countries with nuclear power plants release tritium emissions, and their tritium in contaminated water is far lower than other countries. But their explanation overlooks a critical distinction. In most cases, cooling water from nuclear power plants does not contain radioactivity. These plants are responsible for cooling and subsequently releasing the water, ensuring that it lacks radioactive elements and poses no harm to the environment. But for the Fukushima nuclear power plant, the reactors suffered damage, resulting in a substantial release of radioactive elements mixed with cooling water, transforming it into highly hazardous nuclear wastewater. Global responses to Japan's plan have varied widely. The first opposition emerges from Japanese fishermen. They have already been affected by bans on importing products from the Fukushima region and oppose the release due to its potential impact on their industry. The United States has expressed support, lauding Japan's adherence to nuclear safety standards and transparency. However, China criticizes the lack of transparency and safety claims, doubting Japan's downplaying of its potential danger. South Korea grapples with a divided response between its government and population, with 80% of its population opposing it. Thousands have taken to the streets in protest, urging the government to take a stronger stance against the discharge. The IAEA and the UN support Japan based on assessments. IAEA invited experts from various countries to participate in the assessment of Japan's handling of the Fukushima nuclear water issue. The resulting report indicated that Japan's treatment of the polluted water conforms to standards and is allowed to discharge. Furthermore, experts are divided on risks and benefits, considering tritium's relatively short half-life but also its long-term low-dose effects. The release may have an impact on marine ecosystems, the food chain, and human health, sparks controversy. Netizens from opposing countries raise a common question. If the water is safe, why doesn't the Japanese government use it for swimming pools, drinking water, or agricultural irrigation within their own country rather than releasing it into the ocean? Some courageous Japanese citizens uploaded videos of themselves consuming the nuclear wastewater in support of their government. However, many of them vomited. Ever since the earthquake, Japan has been repeatedly linked to negative news. First off, this video straight up shows that radioactive stuff like tritium and carbon-14 can't just be filtered out. But here's the kicker. Japan's only emphasizes the safety of tritium. In October 2020, Greenpeace went ahead and accused the Japanese authorities of hiding another radioactive player, carbon-14. Unlike tritium, this carbon-14 hangs around for a whopping 5,730 years and can totally latch onto cell parts like proteins and nucleic acids. That's a recipe for some serious damage to genes, cells, and even causing them to die off or mutate. An article in the journal, Science, highlighted that the ALPS purification process occasionally fails to eliminate longer-lived and more hazardous isotopes like ruthenium, cobalt, strontium, and plutonium. Those isotopes possess much longer biological half-lives, lingering in bones, teeth, the thyroid, and muscles for decades, leading to prolonged exposure to higher radiation doses. Secondly, news emerged in 2013 revealing that TEPCO had failed to effectively manage the accumulation of contaminated water, admitting that at least 300 tons of tainted water were leaking into the sea daily. Over the last decade, reports have been rolling in that fishermen from specific countries have been hauling in seafood that's got a side of nuclear radiation from Fukushima. Fast forward to July 2023, South Korean media jumps in saying that the Japanese government supposedly tossed over €1 million to the IAEA to get their hands on and tweak reports in their favor. And the concentration of Japanese nuclear radiation in the water supposedly shot past the limits, like, double the safe amount. But these claims got shut down. The Fukushima coastline experiences some of the world's most powerful ocean currents, which transported the contaminated water far into the Pacific Ocean, resulting in the extensive dispersion of the radioactive elements. Experts predict that following the discharge of nuclear wastewater, within 57 days, a large portion of the Pacific Ocean will be contaminated. After 220 days, contamination will reach Jeju Island in South Korea. By 400 days later, the western coast of South Korea will be affected. After 3 years, the contamination will impact the United States and Canada. In 10 years, no ocean region will remain unaffected. While ocean dilution is a strong mechanism, nuclear wastewater is distinct from ordinary industrial wastewater. Japan's throwing down that this whole releasing the water thing is their only option. But global nuclear experts got some alternative ideas up their sleeves. For instance, converting nuclear wastewater into solid cement blocks and burying them 20 meters underground, or digging a 2,500-meter deep pipeline to inject the wastewater deep underground. These approaches can be executed with minimal environmental risk and are safe and eco-friendly. But those moves need some serious cash. Compare that to just letting the water loose. It's a wallet-friendly move that's also practical. In reality, those opposing the plan are simply hoping that the Japanese government will exercise greater caution in all pre-discharge operations and calculations and share data more transparently. The oceans should not be treated as dumping grounds. Thank you for watching.